Welcome to the Craftsman interview. I'm here with Dimitri from the Shanty, and I'm excited about this interview, Dimitri, because we've talked about the history of the Shanty, we've talked about the planning of the new space, the materials, the bell, which we're hearing right now. And for this interview, I want to talk a little bit about the operational side, the marketing side, if you will. And it seems to me that you're of course a restaurateur, but it seems to me that you run and think about the restaurant as more from the frame of mind as an art major than a restaurateur. Does that make sense to you, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I think that obviously I'm a restaurateur, so our food and our service and our menu design and quality of food, and that's the main core of the business. But I've always approached it from a different angle, and that with the design of the space, how people feel in the space, the marketing behind the space. I don't really call it marketing. I don't know even what it's called really, but it's kind of more of getting a lot of people involved and behind something. And that's been pretty much the philosophy I've had for the restaurant for the last 13 years. So from the original time of actually opening the restaurant and meeting the people, I identified with them that this was more than a restaurant. It was more of a gathering place for people for a long time. So when I understood that, I kind of took that and made sure that everybody was a part of it as we got bigger and bigger.
Sure.
And now it's pretty amazing. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people now that have the same outlook and the same feel for the restaurant and the same care and love for the restaurant as a gathering place for their friends and family as the original people, which still do, that I first met when I was 22 years old. So
is it something you noticed, or was there a time when you were looking at buying the business, or when you bought the business, where it just clicked? It's like, wow, this is a community.
Yeah, I think too with my, I was a three-dimensional art major in school, in college. So for me, I was around very creative people all the time, whether it was a welding class or ceramics class, drawing class, charcoal class, three-dimensional class, whatever it was. There was something about the kids in school, and I was there in Southern Illinois for 2 years, and I went to Milwaukee for 2 years. That's where I graduated from, University of Wisconsin. And their mentality of creating a project was like they put everything they had into it. If it was, they'd work 3 months on one painting, and the detail of it, and how they wanted that to be perceived to the audience that they were going to get. So I think I was around that for 4 years, really 4.5 years, because I was still going back when I had the restaurant and hanging out with a lot of people. So there was that part of it. And I think that just because I bought the restaurant right after college, that was my mentality coming into it. So right from there, I mean, we attacked the food and the service and the space and all that kind of stuff with expansions and, figuring out our needs. But with that came a different outlook of how to make this a more special place than just a restaurant.
Okay.
And I think we've done that. It's
so
pretty
it's
amazing.
Like one big art project.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So, and like with our GC with Tony Solinger is awesome. We get into like all these little minute micro things about the space and all this stuff, and he's like, Dimitri, no one's going to notice this. This is like you're spending way too much time on this, and only you're going to know that this is here. But I know it's here, and I can't. It's kind of like a disease, but I can't.
It's just how you're wired.
Yeah, I can't. Like if I know it's that way, I have to have it that way, even if no one sees it.
Yeah.
And what's happened is there's so many little details within the small space and this space that when someone comes in and sits there, they may not see every little thing that I thought was important at that moment, but they feel something, and that's what we're trying to portray. And the same thing as a painting or an art, of anything. So this side, even though the little side has a lot of those little things going on in there,
yeah.
The expansion is basically that philosophy, that feeling on steroids. You know, it's everywhere. You know, from oil paintings to the stonework to the finest little detail in every hand lever that you're opening a door with, the ironwork that's on the balcony, the stone in the church glass, the bar, every little piece of detail inside. And what it is we're creating basically a scene, a feeling within this larger scene, you know, and that's something I wanted to talk about too.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Getting people involved, letting, you know, most owners of any type of business have a very, you know, their thumb on the pulse of what exactly they want to portray. And I do too. I kind of let naturally the people that are coming here create that with me as we go, and the staff as well.
So what I hear you saying, or what I've observed, is you kind of lead with concept, and concept of, with the risk of sounding a little fluffy, but sort of that artistic concept first. And if that's executed well, then the business side will take care of itself, as opposed to the other way around, where a lot of business owners, we think in terms of, how can I make money? And that, you lead with that.
I don't do that with anything.
Okay.
So and we do well. We're very fortunate. Financially, we do very well. We're lucky with that. But I think that we're fortunate with that because people understand that we're taking it beyond making money. You know, you got to make money. You got to pay bills, and we have a lot. We have a lot of them. You know, we have a huge staff and huge payroll. But it'll work itself out if the people that are supporting you actually believe that you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, from live theater starting, you know, in a couple months, to the Chef Series dinners, to, you know, charity stuff, whatever it is that we're doing, you know. If they feel that and that there's something there for them, they'll support it, and then all the bills and all that stuff work itself out. You know, but I think if you go into it, in anything you do, it's not just a restaurant business. If you go into it for yourself and you're going into it to make money, people will sense it on you, and they won't like that. And they won't support you.
Right, no one likes that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that you know, if people sense that on you, they will. People are smart. You know, there's a lot of this whole marketing thing. You know, you can market someone but you have to back up what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, you can say this is going to be the greatest thing ever, and, you know, the greatest event ever, and then they come and there's no value there, and it's not good. You're done. You know, it's a short wave. I talk about long wave and short wave. You know, long wave mentality of, you know, looking at the bigger picture, and, you know, people want to make $100 today. Well, you can make $20 today, and $20 the next day, and $20 the next day, and you'll still get the $100. You know, if that's what you're really worried about. But you have to look at things a little differently. That's the way we look at it.
So dig into that a little bit, because I've come to, for example, the chef cooking classes, which was extremely, and I pay attention to stuff just because I get geeked out on it. And this is a testament to you, really, because as a fan, and I think there's a lot of people like me. I'm not unique by any stretch, but I think there's a lot of people that like to come to restaurants and watch how things are executed. Not only enjoy the service and the hospitality and the good food and the creativity, but they get a charge out of watching it unfold. And when my wife and I came to the cooking class, one of the things that immediately struck me was the execution. I mean, you had every little detail. I had my own space, my own burner. Everything was out there, around me. It was just so well. It was clean. It was well done. You guys had the mics on. You were storytelling along with the class. There was great humor involved with it. As soon as we were done, boom, dishes were gone. You know, I even leaned over to my wife, Lori, and I said, well, watch how fast, after I'm done using these things, that they're gone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you think about that and how you get to that point.
So the space too is was designed for multiple things. We're still designing. We just added glass to our balcony and another room with these beautiful doors. So the space is always changing and moving, and I'm studying what people want. We've only been open for 7 months. It's been crazy busy, and everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, which is we're super appreciative of.
What are you studying?
I'm studying, well, so before I start studying, we have, the space is laid out basically how I interpreted it and how I wanted customers to feel in these spaces, right?
Okay.
So for like the cooking class, for example.
Yep.
So we had to make a dining room, but it had to be big enough for a wedding, and it had to be big enough for a cooking class, but it had to be able to be split down during the week, but it had to be big to get working with the balcony, and the balcony had to work in with the wine room, and the wine room, but they all had to be separate rooms. So all these different things. So like the scene, the space changes all the time. Every day it changes. Sometimes there's 5 events in one day, and those 5 events in one day, every single event has a different feel, a different touch, a different, one's doing plated, one's doing micro plating. One's doing buffet style, one's doing full off the menu, the bar's having a different scene. So there's all these different things where people have to find themselves in there. The cooking classes, though, to go back to that, was I wanted to do the cooking classes because we're creating this long-term culinary village, where everyone can express themselves, whether they're artists, painting. We have illustrators now that are doing unbelievable, this whole Shanty culture thing, which is a whole other thing we can talk about. Other chefs coming in. We have Lee Kubler from Milwaukee Trace is doing an event here this week, and we had Tina's from Tina's Bakery, which was amazing. That event itself was unreal.
Yeah, she's cool.
And so we're creating these experiences, creating these memories within the space, but not only just doing food and service and events for private events, which are great too, but really putting our own feel of our own events within the space. And when the cooking class came along, I don't really go to restaurants, so I don't eat out a lot ever. And I've never been to a cooking class in my life either. But from what I gather, just like, I don't know, being in the restaurant business, is that cooking classes, to me, in my opinion, they seem boring. I'm not boring, but like kind of like, I don't know. It's just like, there's nothing that, like, there's no like, an energy to it. So when we did our first cooking class, this is our 3rd one we're doing now. We did a kids cooking class that's coming up too, that sold out like real quick. That's gonna be awesome. So I'm laying it out, and I bought all these burners, like propane burners for everybody, own mixers, your own martini shakers, own knives, everything, like everything you would need in a kitchen to make these dishes, right?
Yeah.
So when I kind of brought the concept out, a lot of people are like, are you out of your mind? You're going to put 80 to 100 people in a room with 80 burners going, and you're going to be on there with the microphone telling these people, how to do this. Like, that's very dangerous. I'm like, it's a little dangerous, but it's cool. And people, it's something like, you're not going to have that kind of energy into a space like that. And there's something really amazing about 80 to 90 people that are learning how to cook something completely from scratch, breaking down all the, the proteins, filleting their own chicken, cutting all their own vegetables, sauteing olive oils, all this kind of stuff. That, like, it blows people away. It's like, man, this is like a real deal cooking class. They're making their own martinis, they're making their own cocktails from scratch, awesome. Yeah. Fresh lime juice, extracts, all this kind of stuff. So that's great about it. But what I think makes it so special is not only the people that are coming, which is a big part of it, and the food, but back to the feeling that we're trying to create. We pick one of our bartenders to do every event. So each bartender on the microphone doing their cocktail that they created. So it's not something we go in a book and we find a recipe. They have to create it.
Okay.
I did the first one, instructed the first class. Our executive chef, Brad Trowbridge, did the second one. My brother's doing the 3rd one. I'll get my dad to do one. Next one will be a wild one.
Oh, that'll be great.
Old country, crazy one, which would be awesome. And then we also invite patrons to be part of the class and instruct the class. So we had our excavator who did the first one. We had our GC do the second one.
Yeah. And
now we have our good friends Jim Merlot and Candy and Brooke are doing a 3rd one. So to get the involvement of that, now we have patrons, longtime patrons that love the place. Now they're instructing people. The feel that you get when you're in that class, that's a different thing than someone, in a white chef outfit, cut this, cut that.
Yeah,
cut,
yeah.
It's like student teacher style, and there is that too. You're still getting that element, and you're learning something that's amazing. But there's that feel to it. It's like the Tina event. The Tina event was probably, for me, the top 2 or 3 nights I've ever had at the restaurant. Me personally, if someone experiencing something in the Shanty. When I first went to her with it, she was the first one we ever did for our guest chef series dinner. And she was, I think everyone was a little confused about it because they really weren't sure what it was going to be. So we're doing an interview style like this in the middle of the dining room, talking about, when she came from Italy, didn't speak any English, worked as a, from the bottom up in the restaurant business. Her mother was here, who was in her late 80s, making pasta from scratch in the middle of the dining room. And I asked her, when I called her, she said, what food are we going to do? Are we going to do Tina and Tony's, or are we going to do my restaurant? I said, well, I don't want to do any of those. They're both amazing. But I want to do food that you grew up eating as a child in your village in Italy, and I want you to do it from memory, that your mother used to cook for you. So for her, and after the event, it was an emotional night for everybody. People were like crying. It was unbelievable. But, for her, she's bringing back her childhood 50 years later, Yeah. Her mother's there, her grandkids are there. Her grandkids are singing a song in Italian to their grandmother in the middle of the dining room, It was an amazing night. Those are types of things that I'm after, though. That's what keeps me going in the restaurant business,
And you can't really plan that stuff.
Yeah.
But you can be intentional about setting the stage so those things can happen.
Yeah.
And that's a nuanced
And
deal.
that's what I think about all the time. So like we did the menu and, she gave me the menu in English and Italian. And I put it out in Italian, completely, no English on the menu.
Okay.
So everyone, got 130 people, they sit down and they all look at the menu.
And they can't read it.
And we didn't tell them anything. And they can't read anything, and they go, what is this? But I wanted that, 1, to be authentic, which it was, and that was in her writing, how she did it. And 2, I wanted her to explain the dishes, that she was creating, because there's a story behind everything. And that's really, I think, what separates the Shanty from other restaurant concepts, is that there is really a story behind everything, because there's been a lot of thought put into everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the art major, part comes out of it. That's the mentality that we had, and as students, and we just continue to do it here.
So a lot of people must ask you, and then forgive me for putting it in kind of a harsh way, but I think, do they ask you, how do you come up with this shit, man?
Yeah.
What do you say?
I don't know. I don't really think about it. I don't know how we come up with it.
Do you
it's like I do think though that I usually think of things like 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. I'm definitely like a big picture type thinker, So a lot of the things that people, like the kids cooking class, which is not that big of a concept, kids cooking class, but we have my nephew who's 6 years old teaching it, and
that's great.
A 6-year-old sous chef, and we're going to be doing live burners. The whole thing, like wavers, and everyone thinks that's absolutely insane, crazy, And we're not doing, mac and cheese and chicken nuggets. We're going to be doing olive oil salads and like real things. And a lot of parents are like, well, my kids don't eat that, Well, they should, and that's why we're here to teach them that. Wow. That's what we want to do, And it's not a disrespect thing, but if kids are going to learn and be involved in cooking like that, then they will think it's cool and fun, and then they'll eat healthy things.
To me, it's an exposure thing. It's a bigger idea than just a cooking class.
Yeah, and like you said, like back to the money thing. The tickets are $20. We're going to lose money on the event. It's not about money for the event. It's about this is a different type of event. You're getting kids together, families together, parents with their child cooking. If it was, people are like, oh, you could have charged $100 and sold that out. Well, we could have, but we don't care. Right. That's not why I want to do it. So I think that back to your question though about how do we come up with stuff or whatever it is. I do think years in advance on a lot of things, and I'll even have ideas in my head that may not be right for that moment, but I know the moment will come down the road.
Yeah.
And it'll work.
Yeah.
And
do you write these things down?
No.
You just store them away?
I don't write anything, no.
Do you find yourself marrying together a lot of ideas where you'll have an initial concept and then something will get brewing and you'll have the formation of a new concept, and then you go, whoa, wait a minute, if we take an element of that, an element of this.
Yeah. I think it, in the end, though, it comes down to, you know, we did this, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but this essay, you know, which was amazing. So it was Why This Shanty is Special to Me essay contest. You know, most places that put that out, you might get one person that does it. We had 107 people.
That is amazing.
Within a 6-week period, right? I mean, 2 to 3, 4, 5 page typed and emailed and took the time to do it. And I'm so glad we did it because it was unbelievable to read this stuff. I mean, from 16-year-old kids to 85-year-old men, the amount of like memories and gatherings, and people have gotten engaged here and married here now. I mean, that's just the other cool thing, the whole other element of the new side.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And the winner, his name is Ray Peterson. He's been involved with the restaurant for a long time. He's a welder, really talented guy. And the reason he won was because, to me, he tied the past, the present, and the future, the best of the restaurant culture into the essay. So it's unbelievable. Yeah, he did a great job with that. So, and that's really what's important to me.
The children's shack. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's going to be awesome.
Talk about that a little bit.
So when I was little, I used to always obviously we had Captain Porky's, and both of our sides of our family are in businesses. So, I was the oldest out of all of our cousins and my siblings, so I was exposed to that the quickest, into you're 5, 6 years old and you're at the stocking shelves or whatever in the kitchen, peeling potatoes, peeling shrimp, whatever it was going to be. So when I was little, I always wanted to have a business, like a little business. Okay. And that stuck with me for a long time. And then we have this shed outside. Yeah. And I'm like looking at the shed, I'm like, man, that shed does not go with our building. And we're still doing so many cool things on the outside, the stonework and this awesome stuff outside. So I'm like, what can we do? I'm just thinking to myself, like, what can we do to utilize something else? And then it hit me with this micro shanty store. Yeah. So from there, then I had them do the design. We had all the wavy wood. We had a little awesome bell coming from France. That's almost going to be it's a similar style to this bell. It was done by a different bell maker.
My word.
From Europe. But that'll ring too, so they'll have a little bell, and there's a little bell tower out there. We put all the brick in, and we're doing some really cool landscaping stuff around it. But what we're going to do is, though, which I'm so excited about, is it's going to be called the Shanty's Little Country Store.
Okay.
And it'll be operated by neighborhood kids 12 and under. They keep all the money. And it's stuff that they produce. So if they grow arugula, they can come sell their arugula. They have to have a business plan, which I have typed up for them, and the parents we've already have a bunch of people signed up for it. So they have to be able to, it's awesome. So they have to figure out what the product is, how much it costs to produce it, how much it costs to package it or harvest it, what they're going to sell it for, what their profit is, and then their labor costs in doing that. So we have, I think, 25 or 30 kids now that are signed up. They're making wild stuff, like quadruple berry jellies and fresh key lime with egg yolk and fresh key limes, and they're bringing these tastes, and they're unreal. So they're going to run the store. It's going to be their store, and there'll be a sign-up sheet for 10 more years, however it is, every season. We open Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm going to make sure that everybody from lunch and breakfast goes and supports them. So they'll sell out every Saturday and Sunday. And they basically they have their store. They have a little register out there. I have a credit card machine that I'm setting up over there. Will get transferred back to them.
Nice.
And you'll be able to come there, get whatever you want from them. They'll have their spiel and their storefront and their production, and then they'll figure out over time how much production they can make, and then they'll come back and they'll sign up for it as well. So it doesn't cost any money to get into it at all. And it's to be a little micro shanty outside the little shanty with the big shanty, this little shanty town thing.
They're learning skills.
Tons of skills. They're learning, cash handling. They're learning speaking to people. That's the biggest thing right now. And
That's huge.
The phone, and I'm on my phone all the time, and I hate it, but I'm on the phone all the time. But these kids too, they have no social skills at all. We're very fortunate with the bussers that we have here, and I think that's the greatest thing about working at the Shanty between 6 and 18. Forget about the money and all that kind of stuff. just being personable with tables and socializing and all that. So that's going to be a great tool for them there. And that is also something they're going to remember for the rest of their life. When you do that, you know, when you're at a bank working or whatever it is, all that experience 30 years down the road for these kids is going to be amazing. To me, that is going to be the biggest accomplishment at the Shanty when it's all said and done, will be that little shed outside there. And I mean, it's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited about that. That starts in the spring.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when people ask you, I want to go back to this and you know, how do you think about business in general? I mean, you've got all these wonderful ideas. You execute these ideas well. There's obviously the business element. I can tell you like talking about ideas more than you like talking about money. Mm-hmm. But you know, what do you read? Who are your mentors, or who have been mentors to you to teach you the business? Because something tells me that you're also, while there's a ton of creativity over here, there's also a discipline to the business side, and that's not easy.
Yeah. So I think that I don't read much, which is bad. I don't have time to read, and I have no patience to read either. Like, my wife reads a lot; it's very smart. I don't have I can't sit there and read. I just can't.
Okay.
I'll go crazy, like have anxiety attack, and I'm like, I can't read. But the definitely 100%, the discipline of the business side comes from my parents and my grandparents, for sure, 100%. So that already is like distilled in me and my brother and my sister, where we're very stable. That's one thing I tell the staff too, and I say this when I hire somebody. You know, like, what does the Shanty offer? The Shanty offers stability. That's what we offer. You know, we're going to be around. We're not going to screw you over. We're going to do our best to make you succeed. You got to work hard, you know, because there's no room for lazy people here. But if you're going to work hard, you put the effort in, I think this would be a great place for someone to work, you know. And I think it is a great place to work, and to go from a 60-person staff to 130 people within 6 months, and 99% of them are still here. It's pretty awesome.
It's crazy, man.
And all the original people are still here too, which is even crazier, you know. So which is awesome.
Thank God for them, right?
Thank God. No, it's amazing, you know. So it's we've kind of had these two families, the new staff and the old staff has turned into one staff now, you know, which is awesome, and we're growing, you know.
I like what your social media, one of many, it looks like almost a series of, you know, built on friendship.
Oh yeah, built on friendship. Yeah.
And I love that, because you tell a little bit of a story there. So there's this common thread of storytelling in everything that you do. Is that why you're such a Dylan fan?
Love Dylan. Yeah. So I started my career. You know that song, the Dylan song, Something There Is About You? It's like a B track off Planet Waves.
Okay.
So I was driving my wife.
You
crazy.
go a lot deeper with Dylan than I do, but
so anyway,
I'm going to look it up.
The song is so crazy, right? It's like the wordplay in it is unbelievable. So I was telling Christina this, and she's like, I don't know, I don't care. It's not that cool to me. Like, I don't think so. Like, his words
His
are
voice
crazy.
is so bad.
Yeah,
that's
what
my wife
says.
says.
It's not a big deal. But the storytelling, yeah, is amazing, you know, and not just because of that, but just in general. The storytelling is a big part of what we do. And actually the storytelling for the Chef Series dinners too is a big part of it too, where people are learning about these chefs and, you know, the interview style and all that. So there's, you know, we pull from a lot of different ways. The discipline definitely comes from my parents and from our grandparents, for sure. I think the constant work ethic of just making it work, you know, you have to make it work. The thing is too, though, is that you also have to put yourself out there. And when it comes to me about business, I am I take a lot of risk. There's no doubt about it. But I also know that as long as I'm healthy, that I will go to the extreme to make sure that risk is not a risk anymore. You know, and that's like the expansion was a very big risk. You know, I didn't think of it that way. Everyone was telling me that, but if I thought about it so much, then you get in your head and you know it gets too big. So he's kind of just steady.
Well,
staying at it.
It's easy as an outsider. It's easy to get hung up in the balance sheet. type
Yeah,
of thing, for lack of a better
and
term.
and the balance sheet's important.
More like the expense side.
Yeah.
You look around and you go, man, this is expensive. This
Yeah.
was not cheap to do this.
Yeah.
And therein lies the risk.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that I've always battled with, and that's like, to me, my general contractor is very frugal. He's a very smart guy, and he's like, Dimitri, you're spending so much money on these things, But I told him, like, thing is, when people come in, if you go to an event and they're blown away by it, and that's what's happening. I mean, we're booking all these events because they just walk in. We have the discipline part of the business part. They know we're going to be here. They know we're going to have the work ethic, the service. We're going to do our best. The food's going to be the best we can possibly make it. When you come into a space, though, and a lot of it too, I think, is just like, man, they put so much into this. They want to support it. It's like, wow, this is really cool, which I appreciate. So to me, it's like, if I have to put a light pole up, I can buy a cheap light pole, or I can buy this really awesome custom design one that we can do that'll last 50 years. It's more money, but it'll last 50 years. Yeah. So, the stone's never going away. You know what I mean? Like these are timeless pieces that never go out of style. So to me, we did spend way more than we expected to spend, but in the end, I think people appreciate that, and it'll stand the test of time by doing that too.
Do you pay attention to other restaurants?
No.
What they're doing?
No. I think it's bad to do that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Here's why. I think, and this is the artist part of it, but so like when we used to do our projects, whatever it was, drawing, painting, whatever it was, the rule of thumb was really never to look at what somebody else is doing, because they're going to influence you in some way, and then you start copying them. And it's not that you're copying them like, I'm going to go see that person and I'm going to copy what they're doing. It's just human nature. You have that in your head now, so it's how you're going to start thinking a little bit that way.
It's going to express itself at some point,
So like, I don't go to restaurants because, and there's restaurants that are great, there's restaurants better than us, there's restaurants that, whatever, there's a million great restaurants. I don't want to be influenced by them, and I think that if I did that, if I went to every, it's mostly what happens, we have tons of restaurateurs that are coming in here every week.
What are they asking?
Tours. How'd you think of this? All that. And I don't care. I'll tell them whatever. It doesn't bother me. Okay. But they come in all the time, and I think what it is they're going to open another restaurant, or they're going to do whatever. They're going to change your menu or something. So they're going to places, they go around, and they get all these ideas, and then they put in the restaurant. But what happens with that is, and what has happened, that's not just in the restaurants, in every business.
Sure.
Is that everyone's doing the same thing. So for me, the way I see it is, if I go do that, then I'm going to be influenced by that, and then the Shanty will be just like every other place. So that's why I don't. It's not that I don't want to go out of disrespect. I think people do better jobs than us on a lot of things, and I think it's fine. I don't want to be influenced by that, because then it's going to end up showing up in the restaurant, and then it goes from there. And for copying places, which it's a copycat business, there's no doubt about it. People, like my wife says all the time, she's like, you're letting everyone in, you're letting them see what you're doing, and
no one's going to copy this. They don't have the.
It can't be copied.
Right.
Like, what do you? I mean, it doesn't make sense to anybody to copy it.
Right.
And if they do copy it, great. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
Probably won't work.
Or they may not work with what they're doing. So to me, it doesn't matter. Like us too, we're opening up our kitchens to chefs. A lot of people look down at that. Like, dude, what are you doing? Your brain's like, who cares? There's enough business for everybody.
That's true.
There's not.
That's a good attitude.
It is.
Dimitri.
Like, whatever.
That's healthy.
If we do good, then this person will do good. And if everyone focuses on what it is. My dad has a really good story that he always tells me, and he always says, worry about your horse. And it's a good old Greek story about business, about everything. So there's a guy in the village, and he has his horse, and he's walking down the middle of the village, where all the restaurants are, or whatever, the town, the square. So he's walking through with his horse, and he looks at this other guy's horse. Oh, that horse is lazy. That horse is tired. This horse is slow. This horse is whatever. Well, in the meantime, his horse died because he wasn't focusing on it, you know? So my dad's been very good about, you know, whenever he tells me, oh, this is going on, no, who cares? Worry about yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you look at Captain Porky's too.
Focus on your horse.
Yeah, focus on your own horse so it doesn't
horse,
die.
yeah,
and then everyone else is going to do whatever they have to do. And he's very consummate, and it's great advice. But if you look at Captain Porky's too, it's a very creative concept, you know, between the seafood and the barbecue. And there's been so many people that are trying to copy it and replicate it, and they've never made it because their heart's not in it. They're coming in and trying to copy you, and Porky's is so complex. With my brother and my sister and my dad, they all are different. You know, he's bringing greens in from the farm and doing all this crazy stuff. People come in to try to look at what we're doing too, and they just give up. It's too crazy. They can't identify with it. So I think to be original, to understand, to have people look at something and say, "Wow, that's really cool," or what you're doing. It's not good to go try to get as much information from somebody else either, because it's going to show up in your restaurant, and people see that, and then it's like the same place everywhere, you know. So it's not unique.
So I was sharing with you probably a couple months ago the book about moments, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Dan and Chip Heath wrote this book, The Power of Moments, and you and the Shanty came to mind as I was reading this book, and the basic gist of it is you can be intentional in your business to create moments that are memorable, meaningful, and that can set you apart. You know, it's all about authenticity and sincerity and all of that stuff as well. But I wanted to talk to you about moments because I also know, I think it ties in with this concept that we were talking about the other day about, I love talking shop with you.
That's great.
Is the scenes. So tell me a little bit about scenes and tell me how you feel about moments.
So the scenes are like, it's probably, for me, it probably happened like back in high school. So like, you know, it's Friday night, we're after school, and there's parties going on everywhere, you know. And my buddies and myself and, you know, people we hung out with, you know, oh, let's go to this party. Oh, it's not really my scene, you know. Let's go. I mean, just kids being, you know, high school kids.
Sure. Everybody's got a scene.
Everyone's got a scene, you know. But for restaurants, are very similar that way too. You know, everyone's got a clique. Everyone's got a scene. And the Shanty was a very cliquish restaurant. There's no doubt about it. I think I've broken that now, so it's more acceptable to everyone, which is great and more welcoming. And actually, the patrons have been unbelievable. So another thing I'm really proud of our patrons for too is, you know, they're here, they've been coming a long time, 20, 30 years, a new person walks in. It is amazing how much they're explaining everything and welcoming, and, you know, that's a big deal. Because for a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses, a lot of staffs, you know, all that kind of stuff, any kind of business, you know, if you get too cliquish, it's hard to break that. Break that.
Very much.
So, and it's open to everyone has been great. But back to these scenes. So, every one of the rooms, including the original side, so they have the little bar. We got the 3 dining rooms. We have the big East Town Hall room. Now we're calling that the wine room after my grandparents. The balcony, the big bar. So there's all these things going on. Now we have another room that's split down the middle. That could be another space. So all these different scenes and, you know, and feels, every room was designed to have its own purpose. So our big thing when we were expanding was expanding with purpose. You know, I'm like, what does that mean? You know, well, now you're going to see it because everything has a purpose, and that's, you know, why we did it. So if you have, like, for example, like 10 women are going to come in on a Friday night for wine. The little bar, the original bar, is not really their scene, you know. I'm not going to have 10 women like hanging, you know, like I'm not going to come there. That's not my thing. But now the big bar, 50 seats, wide open, you know, different feel, different style. It's great, and people love that. But if I'm a construction guy and I'm coming in and, you know, I'm tired after, you know, I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm dead tired. I just want to zone out, have some shrimp, drink a beer, not talk to anybody, you know. Little bar's great. You come in, you say hi, kind of zone out, doing your thing. Maybe a couple people will talk to you, but it's not so wild.
I've done that.
It's not
that
so wild.
has been my scene a couple times.
And, you know, if you have a business meeting and you want to talk about financial stuff You really don't want people listening, because it's very hard to go to places now and talk about business.
Yeah.
Because everything's very open now. There's not a lot of private places. So our wine room is great. Our wine room serves like 15 different purposes, you know. Come in during the day, we have a lot of business guys coming in, they're rolling their blueprints out, quiet, no one's bothering them, all the doors are completely shut, safe, they can talk about things. Then it rolls into a 75th birthday party, you know, for your grandfather, really long table, little dark, feels a little different.
Yeah.
You have a wedding, doors open up, that's the head table, goes into the space, you know, sprawling space. So everything is designed that way. If I got 20 people, you know, our main town hall, the main east dining room, the big one, it's a great space, a lot of space. You don't have the elbow room on that side. So this scene thing is really, you know, we're doing this big thing. It starts next week, actually, of when you walk into the new side through the east door, there's gonna be this big wooden hand-painted board. It's gonna have all the rooms on it, all 10, 11 rooms on it. There'll be a long stick that the hostess has. They can open and close it, because sometimes things are open, they're booked, they're private. You know, you can't always get into the room that you want to get into. So I think what's happening is like with patrons that have been coming, this is also really cool. Patrons that have been coming in forever. When we did the expansion, everybody was like, you know, we're super excited for you guys. We're here to support you, but we're never going to the other side. You know, ever. Like, you know, it looks awesome, it's beautiful, blah blah blah, but we're never
not our scene.
Yeah. 98% of them are only over here now.
Really?
Never go over there.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. The same people. So they found a different scene. You know, they found everything. And what happened is, it's not that they like this side or that side better. To me, both sides are equally as cool as the other one. Like, this one has a very over-the-top, very wild, open look to it, and people like that. And the little side has so much history to it that, to me, they balance out. So everyone should go to both sides. You know, that's the way I see it. But what happens is not that they want to come here, they don't go there. It's that if I have 10 friends, or 8 of my friends are over here, I'm going to come over here because I have more room.
Yeah.
But if I have 2 people and I want something more intimate and quiet, I want to get away from the loud music, maybe on a Friday and Saturday night, the little bar's slammed and it's great. So both sides are doing very well because they offer different things.
Yeah, yeah.
The scene is that way too. So I'm coming in, I have a different mentality. The bartenders don't know this yet, but we're going to do these mood session things, you know, where like people, like you study people's moods. And that's what I've been doing for a long time. If we have someone that comes in, I'm not going to say any names, but like somebody will come in, and it's pretty amazing. Like, we've only been open 7 months on this side, and there's 50 seats at the bar, but they will find, literally within 5 feet, they will sit in the same spot every single time.
Yeah. If
they can't get that spot, they'll sit on another part of the bar, they'll wait for that side to open up, they'll close their tab out, and then they'll walk and they'll sit in their spot.
Yeah.
And the little side's like that too. Everyone has their spots.
It's like church.
It's like church.
You know,
but it's routine. It's like human nature. We all do it. We just don't think about it, you know.
Yeah.
So what I want people to do now is kind of get out of their comfort zone. And we have a couple that comes in every Friday, great people. And they were very like, I'm only going to the old side. And every Friday I see them now, they're in a different part of the building.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, you're over here now? Like, oh,
They're
you're in the balcony.
exploring.
Hey, you're in the bar. Like, yeah, it's like I come to a new restaurant every time I come here.
So coming back to the scene thing and this signage or something, is that so when I come in, I see what scene's open?
Yeah, so we've named all the rooms.
Okay.
We've named all the rooms. And so we can identify that. It's also hard to navigate through this place. So now it's like, it helps people too. If they've never been here before, they don't even know we did an expansion. They're thinking they're walking the little shanty. They get sat in here, they're like, where am I? You know? Or they go to the little shanty, thinking they're over here.
Okay.
So now this is already helps, and we already have signage going on in the building now, which is great too. And for hostesses, logistics for the staff, you know, where are they? They're in the balcony, they're here, wherever it is. We've named the Lincoln room with the Lincoln picture, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then Village room and Vicky Carney's stable room, and we have all these different names, which is really cool. So those are all hand painted. But not only does it help logistically, and it looks very creative how they're hand painted and fits with the decor of the artistic part of it.
Yeah.
If I'm here in July and I'm going to sit on the balcony, I have a certain feel, an experience that I had there. That's going to stick with you. So you might come 50 more times before the next summer. When you come in and you see that board, oh, I like that spot, because I remember that spot.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. So we want everyone mixing and going into all the spaces and kind of really opening up different, you know, different experiences for them. And it also depends too on who you're with and what kind of thing. Sometimes you want it quieter, louder. The bar is a very high energy type bar. People say, oh, it's loud in here. It is loud in here because it's 150 people in here, and we want it to be busy and loud, and it's fun. You know,
Yeah.
If you don't want that, that's totally cool. The little bar is quieter, quaint, open 7 days a week.
Right,
and
right.
everyone loves that too. So there's a lot of options here, which is really nice. So the scene is what you're seeing, not only figuring out where you want to sit and where you want to experience that, but what are your comfort spots? And everybody has a comfort spot. They may or may not understand it or realize it, but we all have that. I have that too, So I think that's what the whole scene thing's going to be, and I think it's going to be really awesome. It's going to be a cool way to look at where you want to sit and how you want to, where your comfort spots are. And I'm excited to see how it all plays out with everybody.
So it really ties into those moments because you're trying to create a moment
all the time.
in each and every place.
Every time. Yep.
That's unique in and of it to itself.
Yep.
If you were to teach a class, I'm going to ask you some random questions.
Okay.
If you were to teach a class, what subject would you like to teach? What would be the title of your class or the topic?
Passion.
Really?
Passion. Yeah. Gotta have passion for things. Your husband, father, business owner, friend, whatever it is, boss, I guess, whatever it is. You gotta be passionate. What I think, where I have a hard time is, and I seem like a very social person. I think I am a social person, but I'm really pretty much a loner too. I'm here, but I'm in my head. I'm in a lot of other places too. People just don't have. I don't want to broad strike, but it just seems like we've lost passion in anything. Everyone's looking for the shortcut, the easy route, the quick buck, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. To me, it's not even worth it. If you told me that we were going to make $100 million here, and I would have to do, and I couldn't do any of the stuff that I want to do, I don't want it. I don't even want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's to me, that's what I think money drives people so hard, and it may seem that way of perception with me because of that, but it has nothing to do with that. If you do what you're passionate about, people will see that, respect it, want to be a part of it, and then I think that's what the edge is.
Do you have a hobby outside of the Shanty?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of hobbies. I mean, I don't I don't know.
What are they?
It's hard to explain. I don't know. I don't know.
Try me.
I don't know if they're actually called hobbies, but the olive oil stuff we're doing. Passions, yeah, a lot of passion stuff.
I know.
My
the
kids.
Music, you told me a great story about George, the Greek singer.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
What's his name again?
George Delatas.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome thing. Really awesome Greek singer that I got to meet and wrote a letter to and it's crazy stuff. So a lot of crazy stuff happens. But being a father, being a husband, I don't really do a lot of stuff outside of work, but it's not work to me. That's the other thing too. People are man, you work 100 hours, you work crazy hours. It doesn't even feel like work to me because it's part of that. It's part of the art. It's part of my. I don't know. It's part of my life. I don't know. I don't.
Well, there are people that I've heard, friends of mine that are friends of yours that I will say that. How do I put this? Worried about you because you work hard and you don't want to drive yourself into the ground.
I'm gaining weight. I'm getting a little better now.
You getting a little better?
I'm eating and sleeping. Yeah.
Okay.
Eating a little bit, sleeping a little bit.
Seriously though, are the things that it's 2019. You got any resolutions?
Family time.
Okay.
Yeah, more balanced family time. So we got a great staff, fortunate, work hard, and I want for me to get that family time, which I've gotten more of. I need to let people be themselves, but they still have to be an extension of what I am too, and we've got a great management team. We got 10 of us. They're awesome. We're all good at all different things, which is great. What I'm really weak at, they're strong at. What I think I'm strong at, they may be weak at, whatever it is, but we all work together really well. And this is a big part for us. This first year, and I have been driving it really hard this year. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I had to because we had to get to the point where we're at now. And we still have way more to do. We haven't even started a lot of the stuff that we're going to be rolling out. But I'm glad to see that people are enjoying the space. It makes me happy.
So someone comes to you and says, Dimitri, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. I am going to give you a load of money to consult on a new project that I have for a restaurant. Would you do it?
I need to consult right now on what I'm doing for myself.
Yeah.
Because we're not to where we're going. You know, we're getting there. We're almost there, and we need to maintain at that level for a long time. Mm-hmm. So at this stage of my life, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I would help people out. I help everyone. I help anyone I can all the time. And for me too, I don't know if they really want to deal with me. You know, like I'm pretty crazy. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if they. I'm pretty intense, you know. Well, I take things to a level that I don't know if people.
So let's talk about that intensity.
Most people want to go into that level.
Talk about that intensity a little bit, because I want to kind of dig into that, because I think that's where people are. They're just curious. They're like, wow, you've got drive. You work so hard. You execute really well. You're marketing the heck out of this place. Mm-hmm. And I know marketing seems like a weird word to you because you're just doing what comes naturally. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, you happen to be marketing the business?
Well, here's another thing, too. So
where does that intensity come from?
So back to the marketing thing, though. So I was also a business marketing minor. So I majored in art, business marketing minor. I learned more about business and marketing in my art classes than I did in my business classes.
Really?
To me, the business marketing stuff was like, it was like so textbook cliche. Like horrible. I hated those classes, you know?
Yeah.
But the art thing was so cool. It's like you come up with something totally original, whether it's good or bad, but then you have to put yourself out there and present that. Is this good? This is why this is good. Mm-hmm. Here's why I believe in this. You got to sell it. And that's what I do here, you know? It's like, you know, we're whatever it is, some crazy thing, but you got to go out there and you got to push it. You got to put yourself out there. You know? Do you offer like sales training here?
No. Do you, because, you know, I'm thinking about the, I've read some things about Chick-fil-A. Uh-huh. I've read some things about the Cheesecake Factory, you know, big, huge operations. Yeah. And they have to train in a certain way. What's your philosophy as you train people to be a part of the Shanty family as a server?
So I have kind of this whole Shanty culture thing. That's another thing we talk about, but this whole Shanty culture. Like I have I don't know, it's not like written anywhere, but either people fit here or they don't. It's not for everybody.
Okay.
It's not for everybody, you know. I'd like it to be, but it's just not, you know. And even though our staff is very different, which is great, the diversity of the staff and what their backgrounds and how they operate, you know. We're not a robotic staff at all, you know. And I think that's what people like. When people come here, like they love the staff, and I think they love them because they're real, they're passionate themselves, they're hard workers. But hard work has always been like the core of everything that I'm about, you know. You can be the nicest person, the most talented person. If you have a bad attitude and you're lazy, you'll never make it here. 2 days you're out of here, you know, period. Like I do not deal with laziness at all. And I was pretty lax during the expansion because I had a lot going on. So I think a lot of the staff were like, wow, he's like letting that go. And then just like hammered back down like that is not
So what does that look like for a lay person who I don't see it. I see you coming by and, you know.
I think I'm 98% more calm than I used to be. I mean, the first 10 years I was pretty hardcore. I mean, pretty insane, yelling, screaming, pushing people, you know, the whole thing. But we became a really good staff, you know. And I still believe, even though I don't do it anymore, probably because my wife. Everyone says one time by my wife I became a nice guy. I still believe in pushing people. I really do. I think that's how I grew up with my dad. And my dad was hardcore.
I grew up at Rook's Restaurant in Zion.
Yeah.
And Gene Neve was one of the owners, one of the two owners. And Gene had one of the biggest impacts on my life. And it's because he pushed the hell out of us.
Yeah.
And he demanded excellence. He knew exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
he could be an absolute bear when he came into the restaurant in the back room. I mean, it was like, you know,
yeah. That's how I grew up communicating. So that's how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fast forward, he was also truly he's just one of the best men I've ever known in my life.
Yeah.
As a human being.
Yeah.
With a heart.
Yep.
But man, he drove us hard. So I can relate to that a little bit in terms of pushing.
And back to like
When I hear you
mentors
say
and that kind of
pushing.
stuff. Like anyone that's like I say a mentor are people that push me as hard as they could.
Yeah.
Like just drove me into the ground. You know, people. I don't know. To me, and it's a different time now, and you can't do that anymore. People don't identify with that. They don't. It's a different time. You know, but I do think it's important not to lose your toughness. You know, that street tough. You know. And that's what makes restaurants. That's what makes businesses. Period.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you need to be out there with the people on the street, working, hustling. You know, that's part of it. But you got to be fair. You got to be honest, and people will see if you're not. You know?
Yeah.
And if you're not, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that story's going to get out quick.
Yeah,
right?
real fast.
Yeah.
And
we've all seen it happen.
And I think it goes for the business philosophy. It goes for the type of person that you have working for you, working with you. And like I said too, you know, I don't think anyone works for me. They work with me. I work with them. You know, I don't. The day you think you're too good to get your hands dirty, you're done. You know.
Yeah.
And that won't ever happen to me because that's not my mentality. It's not how we grew up. But it's very important. And I think everyone working together. And you know, the worst is this is my job. This is your job. It's everyone's job.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we all work together. And if anyone doesn't fit into that mold with us, they don't make it. Selfish people don't last here. You know, you have to be.
Is
there.
it kind of? Does somebody have to tell them they don't work, or does it happen? My hunch is
No one tells them.
that it happens naturally, where they're like, man,
Yeah.
they self-select out.
They self-select out, and I think too what happens is that we have our staff is so close knit. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's great, and I think people when they come in, they're like, if they know they're not going to fit, they just know. They don't. It's not them. You know.
Okay.
I think they're so outnumbered now.
Yeah.
Like when you come in, it's
Yeah.
like, man, I don't want to work like this, or I don't want to do this, or I'm too good for that. Oh, great. You don't have to work here. You know. So and then we build from there. But what happens is if everyone's working as a unit like that, the work becomes easy. You know. I think actually now our staff we work hard, very hard, but we work different. And it's not as hard as it used to be.
Really?
Because everyone's working together.
Okay.
You know, where before it was kind of like just a handful of us kind of pounding it out with trying to get new people in. And we've had very good luck with staff, thank God, for the last 13 years. But now it's kind of the philosophy, it's the mentality when they come in, and then everyone just seems like it naturally happens, which is great.
Another random question. Your kids are now
4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yeah, awesome.
And let's fast forward. They're graduating high school and they're trying to figure out what to study, where to go to school. What does Dimitri give for advice?
Go to school. Don't be in the restaurant business.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone says that, thinks that's so crazy. I always say that to people. My dad told me not to be in the restaurant business. My grandparents told me not to be in the restaurant business. And here I am in the restaurant business with my brother and my sister, and we all went to college, and we all have degrees, and you know, we all had good jobs out of school. For all of us, I think we've been around it so much that you know, it's not a big deal to us. You know, like I mean, we work really hard. It's it's a lot of work. It's a challenge, but it's been so embedded in what we do with business that I think it's just kind of naturally what we do. What we know, but having weekends off, being at home with your kids.
So it's a lifestyle thing.
It's a lifestyle thing, and the thing is like, and some people can do that, you know, and it works out, and I can do that too. I have to let go a little bit too. I'm learning to let go, but it's hard to let go when you're passionate about something as well. But I'm also passionate about my wife and my kids, and it's very important for me that I do that as well. So I would tell my kid, I mean, whatever they want to do, I'm going to support them, and my wife will support them too. My wife is very, very big in education. I was not very good in school. My wife was very good in school. So, you know, education is number one for her and for me too, for them. And they're both healthy, smart kids. We're very lucky. I don't know. It's too far away, you know.
So you're going to open up a business.
They have to be in the olive oil business.
Oh, they have to be in the olive oil.
Restaurant, they don't have to be in the restaurant.
Okay.
Olive oil business, they have no choice.
Okay.
No choice. They have to be.
They're preordained into the.
They have to be. Have to go back to the village. Have to learn. Have to learn Greek.
That's a heritage thing, right?
Have to do it. I tell my wife that all the time. I don't. What a restaurant. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. You know, it's great, and that's what I wanted to do. And our family, the kids, they have no choice. They have to be in the olive oil in some capacity. That's all I want them to do. Restaurant, if they want to do it, they can do it. But it's not just my kids; it's my brother's kids, it's my wife's, my sister's kids. You know, we're all partners together in here, all equal parts. So, you know, there's a lot of kids and there are a lot of restaurants around, so they're probably gonna. I mean, I'd be shocked if some of them didn't get into the business. You know?
Yeah.
But leave them up to them. Whatever they want to do, we'll support them.
Yeah. You're opening a new business. Hypothetical. You're opening a new business, and you just something that you're passionate about. It's just, what are you doing? And let's just assume for argument's sake that you're going to be successful. Okay. You got the money to do it. All of those things are off the table, but you're going to open another business. It has nothing to do with the restaurant business.
No, me personally.
You personally. Okay. You personally. And let's just assume for argument's sake it's super successful and you have the money to open it and all that stuff, but it's not in the restaurant business. What kind of business would you love to get into?
It's a hard question. I never thought about that. So not olive oil business.
No.
Something completely that I don't do.
All I'm trying to find out, Dimitri, really is just another way of asking, you know.
I would like...
You seem to enjoy the game of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it wasn't restaurants,
right,
would you be a painter or a sculptor or something like that?
I'd probably want to be an architect.
An architect, okay.
Yeah, I would want to be an architect. That's what I wanted to be when I was a little kid.
Okay.
So, architect. Yeah, if I could... but now that I think about it, if I could do it all over again, I would stick to what I'm doing. I really like it. But I would be an architect.
I sense that.
Yeah.
This is a huge canvas for you, and you get to execute all your ideas. What else do we need to talk about? So you have these paintings throughout the restaurant. You have different characters inside the paintings. You had a local artist create the paintings for you. There's a lot more to that story. So tell me a little bit about the story, but tell me more importantly, I'm curious as to what is the process? How do you think about these things, and why are these things important for you to do?
Okay. I've never really thought about it, so I'll do my best to explain it. So the paintings will end up being 10 paintings wrapped throughout the restaurant. The paintings were done by an amazing local artist, Linda Kolax. They're all fictional, except for one person. Linda is in one of the paintings, the original paintings, the artist. It was part of the agreement I had with her, which she refused to do. But I told her I would not hire her. So she's the only real person. All of the people that are represented in these fictional people represent to me, in my head, what this Shanty culture is about. And, you know, if you see in all of our stuff, experience Shanty culture. That's like this wide, broad, crazy thing that I've really never talked about. But the culture is like this working thing that constantly happens every day. And the paintings are, everyone can find themselves somewhere in those paintings. It's not them, but they will find themselves. And then there's back meanings to every single one. Yeah. And I've been thinking about this for 10 years. So like all of the colors of their jackets and who they represent and all these different things. So we have all that going on. The process of it, though, I don't know. You know, I mean, like, it's not like you're going to go open a book and they're going to say, put 10 paintings on there that people are going to think are cool in your restaurant. I don't know.
And maybe you don't remember this, but I mean, was there something that just inspired you one day to go, man, we have to have paintings? I mean,
yeah. Well, I wanted
just fits.
The process is, and like the process happens all over the place. It's not like sometimes it happens in like 5 minutes. Like, sometimes there'll be something or an idea that in 2 seconds it just comes to me. I don't know how it just does, and then it works out, and then I find the right people to either build it or whatever the case is. Sometimes if it's food, we do it ourselves. And I mean, it could be as simple as food or a 2,000-pound bell in the air, from France. Something.
Right.
But it typically is an idea that starts. I mean, sometimes it'll be in the middle of the night. Like, I don't sleep for 5 hours. I'll just sit there for 5 hours and I'll start, drawing out ideas or sketching or whatever.
So you're sketching.
Yeah, we're doing. I don't know. I don't know where. It's not like it doesn't come from somewhere. It's just part of the day. Sometimes you're like driving to work and then boom, like it'll hit you. But I think that's different. I think what's unique about it is that these ideas become reality. This whole expansion,
well, for sure.
Was thousands and thousands and thousands and years of like thought and rethinking in my head and how that's going to work and how people are going to portray it and the field they're in and all these different types of things. So it's not really a process. Like, I sit down and then I write it and then I do this and I do that. It just kind of it comes together, and it could be an inspiration from being a child or something, a memory that I had from something, and then we incorporate into that.
So are you impulsive? And what I mean by that is, and I use myself as an example, sometimes I'll get an idea in my head and I will run that idea sort of out of my system, but in the process of running that idea out of my system, I'll tell somebody about it, I'll start the planning. I mean, this could be over a 3-day stretch.
Sure.
And then at the end of the 3 days, I'm like, oh shit, I'm on the hook.
Right.
Now I have to do this. And that, to me,
I do that a lot.
Back is, I get very impulsive.
Yes. So my thing is...
Does that get you in trouble?
It hasn't so far, but it may. I don't know. It hasn't so far. So far, so good.
Good. Good.
But where... One thing that I do is, though, I kind of, because this whole like built by the people, mentality thing, I'll have an idea in my head that I see working, if it's a concept or whatever it's going to be. I do have the work ethic, though, I'm persistent. So, like, I'm very persistent.
Yeah.
So, like,
I've noticed.
Like, if it's like, that won't work. Like, you tell me it's not going to work, like, I will make it work.
Fuel.
Like, for me, it's just fuel the fire, and just you keep going after it.
Amen to that.
So for me, what I'll do is I'll have this how I think it's going to go, and usually I've been pretty fortunate. It usually goes kind of that way, and I'll throw the idea out there very slightly to a couple people that I want to test it. I'm like, oh, what do you think with this? And they don't even know I'm doing it probably to them.
Yeah.
And it may be something that they don't even know what we're even talking about, but I play that out there a little bit, and I see how that takes. And if I see a little bit of interest in it, then I just 90 miles an hour, I go right after it.
Yeah.
We're doing this live theater in March, which is going to be awesome, unbelievable. We're doing live platform acoustic singing in the middle of the dining room Fridays and Saturday nights. This Lost Songs, which I'm putting out this week. It's all the songs that I collected that are not sang in bars and restaurants anymore. Woody Guthrie, Lead Belly, like old songs that we're having local musicians sing on a platform raised platform in the middle of the dining room, acoustic style, like almost unplugged style, in the middle of the dining room from 6 to 8 o'clock on Fridays and Saturdays, and then at 8 o'clock the next band starts in the bar. Totally different type thing. Real crazy stuff. Yeah. So that's kind of like a Greenwich Village style.
Yeah.
Poetry style stuff that you'd see in the 1960s in New York. But I've never been to Greenwich Village. I've never been in, I've never seen that.
It has a very Dylan-esque
Dylan-esque thing to it, but
and
it's not really vibe to it, but it's more of a put into a modern setting.
Yeah. So let's wrap up here. A couple more things, though, Dimitri. First of all, thanks for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
And I always enjoy our conversations. I always learn a lot, and I walk away inspired. So thank you for that. There's a lot of things coming down the pike in 2019 that we haven't even talked about. We'll save that for another day. There's all kinds of ideas that that I know you've shared with me off camera that are going to be executed soon. But my final question, I think, and then we're going to talk a little bit about wine. What's the fuel, man? What keeps you going? Because in order to do all the things you're doing, in order to be inspired with that creativity, it takes a hell of a lot of energy. So we're at the root of it. What's the fuel for you? What's the motivation?
The fuel is definitely my kids and my wife. You know, you do it for them. You know what I mean? So to make sure that they're supported and, you know, they have a good life, that's the biggest thing. For the restaurant part of it, the olive oil, the new soap stuff that we're doing and all that, is probably the people, you know, life. Learning, executing, you know, learning from your mistakes, getting better at it, trying to like challenge yourself. You know, I get bored really easy. That's another thing with me that's kind of a challenge. So, you know, for me, once something's done, I like to do something and then we'll replicate that, you know, in its own style every different time, but maintain that, but always growing and learning and, you know, trying to expand whatever we're doing, you know. And that's what I like about the new space. It's so big and there's so many different options that there's no way I could ever get bored in here because I can reinvent the space so many times and what's going on in the space and change everything, where that was a limited thing for me in the other space. So, you know, I'm fortunate we have a great staff and we got people that really care and really passionate as well. And, you know, they're creating their own Shanty story themselves here, which is pretty amazing. And the support of the people has been unbelievable. So we just got to keep it up and, you know, and keep moving.
Well, as a patron, keep doing what you're doing because I've enjoyed the cooking class. I haven't taken advantage of everything that's rolling out. But so as I was walking in with some of our gear, I saw these 2 barrels. I don't think I've seen those here.
Yeah, they're new.
Are they new?
Yeah.
So you've got these barrels here, you've got some pitchers there, it's got a spigot on it. I mean, so what's going on here?
So that is our village style Shanty wines, our new house wines.
Okay.
Created by Glenn's winery,
really?
But not by Glenn's here, by the father's vineyard in California.
Really?
It's a private vineyard. For us. We've been talking about this for about 3 years.
No kidding.
And David Fulton, who is our wine director, oversaw the entire process of it. Unbelievable table wines. And we do a red and a white. They're both blends. And they're done in the style that best represents the wine made in my dad's village in Greece, in Sparta. So the whole concept of these tins actually started with these 2 gentlemen, which is pretty cool. Those are 2 guys smoking cigarettes and drinking wine in their basement with these huge barrels.
That's in a basement?
Yeah, this is underground.
Wow.
And, in my dad's town in Kastodi, Laconia, Greece, also where our olive oil company is. And my first time I went to Greece, I went there with my father and my grandmother. And I go into this, you know, little area. My dad's hanging out with these 2 older, you know, gentlemen from the town that he knew when he was a child before he came here. And they had these huge barrels of wine, red and white, and these little tins. And they kept telling me fede crasi, which means bring me wine. You know, I was a 13-year-old kid. He's talking to my dad. They're playing cards there. So I would go there and I'd fill up the wine, and I'd bring it back, and they'd have these little glasses. So always stuck with me. You know, like super cool. Like, you know, I'm like serving wine. I'm drinking wine. I'm like 13 years old. You know, it's awesome in Greece. So, you know, flashback 25 years later, we have the restaurant. We're doing this big wine program with this huge wine list now, and wine's a big part of what we do here, wine lectures and tastings and, you know, all this cool stuff. So I sat down with our team and I talked to David Fulton, our wine director, and I said, you know, I want to kind of bring this very old world way of drinking wine into this culinary village. It's like, oh, what do you got in mind? So I go, you know, I don't know that much about wine. He knows a lot more. I'm learning, and our staff's learning as well, and they've done a really good job with wine. And I want to create these huge barrels of wine, red and white, that we can do every season. We're going to name the barrel, tap the barrel, and we're going to serve wine like it's served in my dad's village, by the kilo or half kilo with little glasses, no wine glasses. He goes, oh yeah, it sounds really cool, you know, let's do it. So made the wines. They're amazing. The red and white is awesome. People are loving them. So you basically order a kilo, which is right here, or a half kilo of red or white, and you get a tray of how many glasses you want. And the trays come flipped upside down, the glasses on the tray, flip it over, and then you pour your own wine at the table. So this is very European style.
I love it.
But people are loving it. So you got your little sipping wine, you got your glasses, and these 10 wine pitchers. I actually got these from our olive oil miller, Nico, in Greece. He shipped these to me directly from my dad's town, which is pretty amazing.
No kidding.
So yeah, so when you walk in, you got the 2 big barrels. You get a red or white. You order by the kilo or half kilo. We're doing this really hand-painted description on how to order it, because people are a little confused. They've never ordered wine like this. I've never seen it done like this in an American restaurant ever. So it's just really good wine, made in California by a great winemaker with the expertise of our wine director, served in a style, 1,000-year-old style in Greece in an American restaurant. Super excited about it.
Can we drink?
Heck yeah, it's awesome. Cheers. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dimitri.
And no sulfites.
Man, that's tasty.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
Thank you.
I like the whole production.
Oh yeah,
man.
love it.
It's great.
So inspired by these 2 gentlemen. So very cool. If I didn't see these guys, this would never be.
What's their names?
I don't know their names. My father does.
Okay.
Hopefully they're still around. They seem pretty old in this picture, so I don't know if they are. But great guys from my dad's village, and big inspirations for here in the restaurant, and everyone's loving it. So we appreciate it. Thanks to these guys. I will find out who they are. We're gonna actually frame this, put it up, and I'll get their names on there too.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
All right,
Jim.
man.
Thank you so much. We
Good to
appreciate
see you.
it as always. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap, George.